Joe, what is in a couple of days? What holiday comes up in a couple of days? Do you know?
Halloween?
Upset alert! Upset alert! That's what.
Why you gotta steal? Why you gotta steal my takes? Why you like access to my like? What do you steal every time? I'm like, I got a big. This is one of my betting picks this week. Why you gotta steal my takes, Blake? I don't like agreeing with you. We're agreeing too much.
Just so everyone knows, Joe, we do not share notes before we come in.
No,
we do not. Joe. Can Arkansas look? Arkansas's got Ole Miss and Texas in the next 2 weeks. Are we overreacting to thinking that Arkansas could beat Ole Miss? Number one, and that's the game we're talking about: Arkansas and Ole Miss. Am I overreacting to Taylor Green? Am I overreacting to how good he looked last week against Mississippi State? Because Joe, I think Ole Miss is in for a dogfight in Fayetteville this weekend. Isn't it in Fayetteville? I'm pretty sure it's in Fayetteville.
Let me check that. Yeah, it's in Fayetteville. I see where you're coming from. This being Arkansas's offense continues to be really good, and raising my hand saying that, hey, everybody, I said that in the preseason. I said that Taylor Green and Bobby Petrino and Jaquinton Jackson, who it sounds like I think he could be back for this game Tuesday when we're taping this. I don't know what the injury situation is for Jaquinton Jackson. He's been a little banged up, but my biggest piece for this is an upset situation. You're going on the road to play at Arkansas, and Ole Miss hasn't really played that great in this last stretch. They have been super sloppy. We were super hyped up on them at the start of the season. They bounced back with that big win against South Carolina, but that LSU performance and then playing Oklahoma as close as they did, where they won. But we all know that there's enough of a separation where you should have won that game by more than 12, and it was close until late. I just think that this Ole Miss team, Blake, I don't have a lot of faith in it. I'm starting to get very, very worried if something doesn't start to really fall apart for them. However, what could keep this game close and could play in favor for or not close, but keep this game in favor for Ole Miss to win the game as a road team here. Arkansas's pass rush has not been very good this year. Landon Jackson has not been hitting home as much as we would like for so far this season. They only have 18 team sacks on the season, which is not a great total. I wonder if going up against that inconsistent offensive line, if this isn't a matchup where Jackson Dart doesn't have more time and feel more comfortable and they don't have a big day. That's the only thing that gives me a little bit of pause, but I do agree with you. I lean upset in this situation.
You're right. Look, but here's the thing. Walter Nolan is somebody that I think that, Lane talked about. I saw from his press conference. I didn't hear it or listen to it. I saw Brad Logan, who's over at 247 for Ole Miss. He had reported or just said that Lane Kiffin was like, look, Walter said he had to come out of the game. We don't really know of his status this week. So, Joe, there's still a really good run defense. J.J. Pegues and Chris Pupal have been really good. They're the number one team in the country in stopping the run. Pete Golding's got them moving and shaking there. What happens when you take away Arkansas's running game? I think LSU showed you that. Okay. When LSU punched Arkansas right in the mouth, a lot of things started going away from them. Bobby Petrino wants to hit you with the run first. Everything that he does is predicated off of a really good running game. While they dominated a week ago, one of the backs had 175 yards last week for Arkansas. And so I look at this game and say, look, I don't want to overreact to Taylor Green having a big game and this Russian Tech having a big game. Talent still sometimes wins out, right? Like it does. But when is Arkansas going? And they've already beaten Tennessee, but I feel like Arkansas is just not a team that you play around with. They're seventh in the country in total offense. The reason that they have looked so good, and I know that they only scored 10 points against LSU, you would have to watch the game to know that that's a lot different than what actually happened there. But LSU just kept the ball away. LSU had the ball for like 40 minutes in that game. I mean, It's not like their offense didn't do well, and Taylor Green didn't do well. Joe, I don't think that they're going to look past this game. I really don't. I think that we look at Oklahoma and we look at the first half and Oklahoma's offense, who is pretty much a very new. You have a new offensive coordinator, guy calling plays. Our Oklahoma still has talent. They 100% still have talent. They dominated in the second half, though, man, and they did it pretty convincingly. I get what you're saying. What's the status of Trey Harris? I don't know. I'm with you. Something wants me to lean Arkansas here, but in the back of my mind, it's like my mind's telling me no, but my gut's telling me, yeah, you probably should run with Arkansas. But I'm not. I just can't do it, man. I can't do it.
Right. That's the same page that I'm on here. Is that like, yes, Ole Miss should. They're the more talented team. They've got all these big name players. They should win this matchup. But I feel like the way that they played against Oklahoma, playing around with them, keeping the thing close, you can't do that against Arkansas. It feels like, and I have been very critical of Lane Kiffin this year, unlike last year where I've always been super supportive of him, feels like this team is inconsistently focused. And this is not a game to show up and not be focused for, because if you're messing around, we've saw what Arkansas did against Tennessee. There is more than a capability for Arkansas to win on the ground and to have a big game, and Jackson and Taylon Green to perform well. What is going to be hard for them, as you mentioned, that Petrino relies so heavily on the run game, and they're very spotty throwing the football. Right now, Ole Miss's run defense has been phenomenal. One of the best in the country, only allowing 76 yards per game. I know a little bit of that is inflated from the start of the season, and also only allowing 2.1 yards per carry.
It really kind of isn't inflated, if we're being honest. I mean, they've dominated every run.
It's a hair inflated because of the way that I think that the number was like 30 at one point or something ridiculous like that when they hadn't played anyone. But right, that's still a good, 76 yards per game, 2.1 yards per carry after you've played this many SEC games. It's saying something.
Walter Nolan's made him some money this year, buddy.
His film's still inconsistent. Still very inconsistent.
You know who he is? Who is the kid from Georgia who took off plays, the D tackle?
Not Jalen Carter.
Jalen Carter was very inconsistent. Remember when he was the big
but Jalen Carter was like freaky good. Like he could take plays off and still take over a game. I wouldn't say that's Walter Nolan.
When Walter Nolan gets moving, my man gets moving.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Joe, here's one thing I'm going to say about Ole Miss and why I'm going to pick them to win the football game. I think Jackson Dart's going to have a big game. I think he's finally going to break through here. I think this is going to be the week, because I think that, look, this secondary is not that great for Arkansas. You can throw on them a little bit, man. You can. I've seen it up close and personal. You can throw on them. You got the receivers to do it. With that being said, bounce back week for Jackson Dart. You get Georgia coming in. You get Georgia in a couple of weeks or next week, whatever it is, and your season comes down to this. Next week. Next week, Georgia comes down. Give me Ole Miss. I do think that Jackson Dart's going to throw it around a little bit, but it scares me because I mean Arkansas is a streaky little team now.
And also, I mean, I don't totally agree with I understand what you're saying with Jackson Dart, but like
they're 88th in the country in passing yards allowed.
No. What I was going to say is that Jackson Dart has actually been playing very well, but he hasn't been getting talked about because Ole Miss collectively has not been.
It's going to be one of those games when you look up and you're like, yeah, Jackson Dart balled. I fully feel it.
Well, I'm not disagreeing with that aspect of it. I'm saying that Dart's been great. You know, Dart's been, if he was the only one who was playing well against Kentucky when they lost that damn game. And he's trying to do too much.
In your humble opinion, in draft circles, would it like, is he going to be a second, third, fourth round pick?
Early second. He's very high floor. He's super mobile. A lot more mobile than people realize. He's got a live arm, and he's a good decision maker, and he's played 1 million snaps. That's something that is more coveted than ever, is that if you've played a lot of football and you look confident, that's valued a lot more than somebody who's just, super traitsy. But
yeah, I saw a statement from somebody come out today saying that like NFL scouts don't want guys coming out if you're not a 2-year starter because we're just not developing like we used to.
No, I mean, they shouldn't. These guys need to go back to school. Quinn Ewers camp, but like Connor Wigman, Drew Allar, those guys need to go back. Go back to school. Stop coming out. It's not working.
You know what? When you said go back to school, it made me think of, oh, back to school to prove to Dada I am not a fool. Name that movie.
Oh my God! It's Adam
Can you
Sandler
not
movie.
name this movie?
I know. I know the movie. It's an Adam Sandler movie. Why am I? Oh, I'm so bad at naming movies.
Oh man.
What? Okay, what is it? You're gonna.
It's Billy Madison.
Shit. Okay. All right. I should know that.
Come on, dude.
I know it.
I give you.
I'm bad at naming movies. I retain so much information, useless information about football. I don't have enough room in my brain for other stuff.
But you don't forget the classics.
I knew what you were talking about. I didn't need to know the name of the movie. I knew exactly what you were talking about.
That is correct. And Chris Farley pulls his shirt off was the nastiest scene. I remember seeing it as a kid. It's disgusting. All right. Let's move on here.
BetOnline remains your top spot for all of your live betting action and contests. NFL, college football, UFC, NHL are all in full swing. BetOnline is your number one source for wagering news, odds, trends, and predictions with both desktop and mobile access at any time. Head to BetOnline today and use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for 50% off your first deposit. That is a 50% welcome bonus. BetOnline, where the game starts.